Welcome everybody to Just That Bourbon podcast. Tonight it's just me, JD Dameron, and my lovely host.
I'm Don Gisica.
And Don, it's another lovely day here in East Kentucky. I'm going to steal Jimmy's line again. But this is getting dark stuff. I'm still not down with it. You like this stuff?
No, I don't. You know, I'm a summertime girl. I love winter until after the holiday. And then after New Year's, I'm good for about 2 weeks. And then I want summer just like that.
Yeah. So I'm usually like at the end of summer, I'm so tired of being hot all the time. I'm ready for it to end.
Yeah.
And I don't even mind the cooler weather, but it's getting dark stuff. Like I can take a nap. Like I don't know if it's my age or anything or what it is, or maybe I'm bad health. But I can lay down and take a nap anywhere at any time. It seems like.
Well, yeah, that's so seasonal. It's a seasonal SAD. It's what they call it. A disorder.
Yeah, seasonal depression. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I liked it pre-pandemic. I liked winter better, but now, especially being a healthcare family, you know, every time that people migrate indoors, that creates havoc for us.
Sure.
Especially the past 2 years for Todd specifically. But pre-pandemic, we would go skiing and we would have a lot of fun in January. And then after that, we'd cap it off with like somewhere warm, like a beach trip somewhere.
Yeah.
And a lot more fun then. Hey, Mom. But now
Betty Joe's
it's
already in the house. What's up, Betty Joe? Does she go by Betty or Betty Joe? I always call her Betty Joe.
Look at my support, my mommy. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I did the show in Gatlinburg. We went down. I made all these big plans, right? Like I was going to take some people with me and we was going to make a whole weekend out of it. Then my baby girl found out I was going. She was like, "Dad, I want to go."
Aww.
And so I took the baby girl, man. I took one of her friends. I took her little boyfriend with us, and we all just
so sweet.
We drove down Saturday and got a room. We hung out the room before the show. We went and did the show and come back and hung out. And he slept in bed with me. He slept there with her.
It's a great time to come down here, though. All the lights.
Yeah, Gatlinburg.
Did you guys enjoy the lights?
We didn't. Honestly, we didn't really.
So
we kind of just drove straight to the hotel. I took some time to get ready for the set, and we stayed right there where we was at. We didn't get in the car. I think we went to Publix, which was like right across the street from our hotel. And then we came right back, so we didn't get to enjoy the lights or any of that stuff. We had flapjacks this morning though, which was really good. And really
flapjacks is always good. You can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was like $65 for. Yeah, but it's cool to go to an area like that and see what can be. You know, like in the 70s, Gatlinburg didn't look. You know, it wasn't Gatlinburg. It was just and to see what it has turned into. It's amazing to me because that place continues to just.
It was.
What I tell you something that don't like that's going on. I'm sorry to interrupt you again. I tell you something that don't like that's going on down there. Is these big corporate businesses are now everywhere, and it used to be mom and pops all over the place. And now you can really see it being commercialized. Yeah. It's a way different game down there right now, seems like to me.
Yeah. Every little tourist town usually just gets invaded. You know, those big guys cannot letting the little guys have a chance, don't they?
Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, it just sucks because, you know, it's built on mom and pops. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I always liked about that place, you know. And now everywhere there's big corporate stores, box stores, and like. So I was like, oh man, I hate to see that, but you can still find the
traffic's insane.
The traffic is ridiculous. It really is. Yeah. And there's some of those
JD,
I don't understand what they go on.
Has always traffic's always been crazy like that in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and in Knoxville, but now it's like that every day. Like used to it be just when tourists came down that Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg would get beat up. But now here, especially in Knoxville, it is every day. I told you it took us an hour and a half collectively to go 11 miles, collectively 11 miles, an hour and a half. I needed to go just a few miles from my house. Brooklyn wanted that rolled ice cream. And we have one of those shops just a few miles from the house. So we went there to get one. It should have took me 15 minutes to get there and get back. It took an hour and a half. That is no lie. An hour and a half.
You want to excuse me? Look just one second. I got something going on real quick. Hold on.
Okay. Look at this. Jimmy Dawn in here visiting. Hey, Caitlin. Yes, I have noticed that. My gosh, girl, you're out in Farragut, so you get beat up too. You should come our way. We get triple beat up. I've never seen anything like it. As a matter of fact, I'm jabbing away to Caitlin, but look at Jimmy's comment. Where's the handsome one at?
I'm right here. I'm back, Jimmy. He made that comment while I was away, obviously.
I hope Ashley's having a dance recital.
Yeah, Jimmy Don is supporting his daughter in Cincinnati now. You're in Cincinnati? I can keep up with Jimmy Don.
They were in
Cincinnati. I think he's in Cincinnati. And
it's a busy time.
I keep on wanting to see what the results are. How they do, Jimmy Don? Let us know how they did. And I'm sure you guys were up there having a great time. I'm sure the girls are loving it. And we miss you, brother. Hope you listen. So Don don't know this, and this is something we need to talk about, but just getting ready to ask.
Like a mom getting Jimmy Don's good side.
Don don't know that our Christmas episodes are actually like really a big deal, right? Like, because I usually get, for lack of a better term, I get shit faced on the Christmas episode. But
you do.
Oh, our first year here, like it was, I got to tell you the whole story, right? So we're doing the podcast just in my living room, and we all come over, and Eric Boder, who used to run our social media, came in from New Hampshire and hung out with us. He brought a big thing of Mai Tai. It was this tall, big old mason jar, and apparently you're supposed to be. It's like a bunch of liquors. I don't know. We even still don't know. But it's like pineapple juice and vodka and all this other stuff, and it's supposed to be split evenly between the three of us, apparently.
Oh God, did you drink it all?
I drank every drop.
Oh,
and
that's
I was slamming beers, and I was shitty.
Oh God, I'd die.
Yeah, so
I barely drink. It's not that I don't want to; it's just I can't. I just literally can't. It cost me like 2 days if I had more than 2 glasses of wine. So. Look at Jimmy Don throwing trash at you. First, second,
he's telling us what was the girls' place, I think. First, second, and second.
Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about all the drinks you had.
Good deal. Oh, yeah. So I was slamming beers, and then I drank that Mai Tai, and I didn't know I was in the world. I think, is that the night? I think the kids came out here and I was passed out. The kids came out here and I was passed out in the bathroom floor. So it was not good.
That's fair.
All right.
What kind of news you talk about?
So I guess the first thing we got on the list is Ben Affleck is getting a bunch of heat right now. We're talking smack about his ex-wife.
Yeah,
what's going on with Ben Affleck?
So I guess Ben Affleck had an interview with Howard Stern a couple weeks ago, and you guys chime in if you guys know anything about this. Anyway, he had an interview with Howard Stern, and Stern asked some kind of personal and tough questions, and he does it quick. He asked Ben Affleck, I guess, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong. It may not have been Howard Stern. But either way, he went on an interview, and he basically blamed all of his poor decisions on his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. So he said the reason why he drank so much was because of Jennifer, and the reason why he was that type of man was because of Jennifer. And then Twitter, as it should, blew up. It was like, you make your own choices, things like that. She even spoke out about it, and I guess that she was disappointed. So now Ben Affleck is on an apology tour trying to say that everything was taken out of context and that he didn't mean it to be that way. Right? Yeah, Jennifer Garner evidently causes everything.
Thanks, Jennifer Garner.
Oh, right.
So I seen a little bit about this. I did read a little bit about this. But it's tough, though, Don. I think here's where we got the problem. I mean, here's where we get into this, again, these gray areas of life, because much of life is lived in the gray, right? And it does matter who you come home to in the evening, right? It does matter. I mean, if you're miserable with who you're with, you are going to drink a lot. And so I'm not saying that he should say that Jennifer Garner is the root of all evil and the cause of all it. But if you're miserable in your own life because you and your partner can't get along, I've been there. It's a miserable place to be.
Sure, you can be miserable.
Sure. And I'm not saying that you're even wrong or they're even wrong for dragging him. I mean, he probably deserves some of it.
Yeah.
But if we want people to be able to speak out and say things, if men talk about their feelings, then we can't just drag them for doing it. We have to really do it.
Yeah. I think he deserves to be dragged. He screwed his nanny, and he would screw a hole in the wall if he got a chance. He's not known to be a good man. He is known to be a womanizer, known to be an alcoholic. Here's where the only place that I would probably throw something out there is she knew all of this before she married him. I'm here to tell you, if a man like Ben Affleck came up to me and asked me out, I'd be like, nope, because I already hear you've got this problem and that problem, that problem. So now that she has some responsibility in, she chose to hook up with the guy who had all these issues. But as far as him going on TV in an interview, especially remember, they have 3 children that watch these and understand these.
Yeah.
I agree, Sam. Yeah.
They're saying he should have said it publicly because they're both public figures.
Yeah, that's right. And they have children. People have to remember, you can hate each other, but you have responsibility to get along and to speak politely about your ex, unless there's crazy abuse, as long as the child's as long as children are involved. So, I agree. He's gross. I don't even know what was going on. And
the thunder. I like it. He's not to be a pimp, Jay Gordon and J Lo. I'm not saying. Just saying. And I mean,
I don't know how he hasn't been canceled. Do you, JD? I mean, him and Leonardo DiCaprio, men like that, I don't know how they haven't got caught up in the cancel culture. They've not been.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, but they're probably so rich and powerful. They probably got all the right elbows and shake all the right hands, kiss all the right babies. So there is a lot of that going on. But I just want to say I feel bad for the guy. I know even people who are assholes and people who have a lot of baggage, man, sometimes there's a reason they get to those points a lot of times. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And he was asked an honest question. He probably answered honestly. Was it nice to say that about Jennifer Garner? Absolutely not. Was it uncalled for? Probably absolutely. Probably should have never said what he said. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if you want people to open up and express with you, and then it's like, all right, now we're going to drag you for saying how you really feel about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. Like,
yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, but did he really open up? I mean, he's opening up and saying all of my problems are because of Jennifer. To me, that's stopping short. If he really wants to be honest, he'd say, I drank a lot and I went out on her because this in my head and that in my head. But he didn't. He unloaded it all on the woman. And it can't be. Everything cannot be our fault in a man's life, and vice versa. Men can't always be the elbow of our problems either. But I don't know.
I guess I'm getting back to that's his spouse. That was the person who he had to go home to. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll tell you the story. I was married for 17 years, and the last couple of years we didn't have much sex. You know why? She would ask me, why don't you ever want to have? Because I don't want to touch somebody who's bitching all the time. That's why. Yeah, I'm miserable. We're miserable. Yeah. We're both miserable. We're both miserable. Right. That's why. And I can see him get lost in a bottle if he's miserable like that. That's just honest truth.
Yeah, no, I don't, the alcohol is one thing. Sure, he's found some dependency to try to get through it, whatever. Blaming her is where I have the problem.
Sure.
So it takes 2 to tango. So what are they fighting about? Could they possibly be fighting about your pork and the nanny? I mean, that's,
sure. That's a good point. It's a valid point. Absolutely. But I'm just saying, we don't know the story. And that's the whole point, I guess, that we don't know. And so I'm going to give this guy a little bit of grace before I drag him too hard, But I think he should have. And absolutely. And Knox Baby is sucking up right here in the comments. He has no shame at all. My life is better because of Dawn. I swear to God, Todd, you have no shame, brother. I mean, whatever it takes. I'm with you, though, whatever. He understands if Dawn's happy, everybody's happy.
That's right. That's an old saying, right? Happy wife, happy life type of thing.
That's it. And that's a real thing, too, man. I mean, yeah, it's absolutely true. But you're right. They probably had a lot of issues. Ben's got a lot of issues. And I'm sure Jen's no shame either. And she signed up for it, absolutely.
We signed up for it. Know who you're dating, and certainly know who you are about to get pregnant by. Just because you're going to have to deal with them. Once that kid comes, you've got to deal with them constantly. Could you imagine Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's Christmas this year after him doing that? I mean,
mother. Yeah, she was not happy. I bet you the kids were like, "Oh my God, here we go."
Yes, and the kids are watching, thinking, "Lord have mercy, just passed a turkey."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think if there's a good lesson in what you're saying, my daughter's now got a boyfriend, and my oldest son has got a serious
Mhm.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
It does matter who you're around, right? Like Jennifer Garner, marrying somebody with all the baggage that comes along with Ben Affleck. That should
Yes.
be a cautionary tale.
No, you're right. It
Pay
totally
attention to
is.
who you're going to be around. There's a thing that goes around on Facebook, and I'm a Facebook philosopher, but it says if you hang around with 5 millionaires, you'll probably be number 6. If you
You're as
hang
good
out
as
with 5 junkies, you'll probably be
you're
the 6th junkie.
that's right. You're
You
as
know,
good as the crowd you run with.
yeah.
So
And
you
then there's
definitely
people do not believe that. Young people, we cannot make them believe that, but it's absolutely a fact.
yeah, it is completely a thing. You're as good as and what else do they say? Birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely.
So yeah, my circle is really, 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 really small, like teensy tiny. And then you have to
Yeah.
fight to get inside of it because I don't want a lot of drama, in my life and a lot of
Right.
fighting. I couldn't handle all that. I really couldn't. I stress and I worry over things. I couldn't handle it. So I don't know why people choose to get into relationships with people who they know are womanizers or cheaters or
Right.
alcoholics or all these things. If something aggravates you now, do not get knocked up by them.
Yeah. Because in 20 years, this will be way worse.
It's really going to aggravate you in 20 years.
He's not as cute anymore.
That's not same thing. I was going to say that same thing with physical attraction. I always tell my
Absolutely.
kids, I'm like,
Absolutely.
pay attention to the parents. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, look, everybody is hotter when they're young and they look a certain way when they're young. But as they get older, you generally turn into your parents. So pay attention and see what you think about it. See how the dad treats the mom. See how the
True.
mom treats the dad. All of that stuff. I tell them everything.
Yeah.
I'm just not willing to send my kids out in the world, JD, ill prepared. We have to share our experiences, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you both
Yeah.
went through divorce.
Absolutely.
We have to share those experiences of the whys and the hows and what we think, where these kids will go out there thinking that, that love is just easy and it's not. And
And man, I just tell you, love just ain't enough. I mean, it's just not. Love just ain't enough. To
yeah,
love
you can
somebody,
look.
you can love
Yeah.
because hate grows the same way love does. I'm gonna tell you right now. Resentment
Mm-hmm.
grows the same way love does. All that
Yeah.
stuff. It's not good.
I say that
And
all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
I say
yeah, it's
all
very
the time about
important who we surround ourselves with, and actually, in that relationship is probably the most important. Who you decide to hitch your wagon to and build a life with really makes a difference. Absolutely. And that goes
how do
for
you
the
think
men,
people
that goes for the women, and everything.
how do you think people should communicate through
Let me ask you something
through
real. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I got to know, Don, is there anything he won't say to get lucky tonight?
Look at him, he's sucking up the mom.
Like that?
Oh goodness.
He's wanting some Betty's cooking or something too.
Yeah, yeah.
He said, "I
Todd's a
married
smart
Don because I noticed Betty was a show nizzle."
man. Yeah. My mom is pretty. All my family is. I'm so humble tonight, right? But you know what? I always say that we make pretty people out of Eastern Kentucky. That is
Yeah.
not me being, because I'm from there. Honest to God, if you look around on Facebook, pick anybody, and you'll find pretty features out of East Kentucky folk. I don't know if it's our genetic pool or what we're doing, but
I mean, all I got to do
that's
is turn
just
on just that Berber podcast, baby. You know
how we
what
roll, right?
I'm saying?
But as far as relationships, how do you communicate to even get through that? I guess that's 100 million question. Or because if everybody knew that answer, then nobody would break up and divorce, right?
Man, yeah, that's it. Yeah, communication, man, just breaks down. People are just different too, though. I mean, you grow, your values change, and sometimes your partner doesn't change with you, and
Mm-hmm.
you grow apart, man. So sometimes you can communicate all you want to. You're just different people.
Yeah. With women, it's usually control. Like we feel like we're being controlled or attacked all the time. With men, it's usually lack of intimacy or feeling like they're not respected. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think a lot, but I've seen those roles reversed.
Oh yeah.
You can get you. I'm actually reading a book right now. Actually, I'm listening to a book right now called "Good Morning Monster." It's on Audible, and this lady's like a psychiatrist. She's talking about all the problems these people had as kids and how it's molded them to the adults they are. But kids who don't have much control in their life, when they grow up, what do they want to do? They want to control everything, and they want to
Wow.
control everybody. And so I've actually experienced that too. Like, do not mean to be I'm not bad mouthing my ex-wife at all. I hope that's not coming off that way. But
No.
you know, she had issues where she grew up, and she wanted to just control everything I did. Every waking minute, she wanted to know what I was doing, where I was at, what I was doing. And I'm not. I don't like that. I can't handle that. That breaks me down. You know, all accusatory all the time for 17 years, accused and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, and so
that usually makes people do it too.
well, it does make you miserable. It makes you miserable, is what it does. And you know, people being jealousy is the most miserable thing in the world. Jealousy is I mean, there's nothing. It makes you uncomfortable. It makes the person who's jealous uncomfortable. It makes everybody around you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's just bad. It's poison,
jealousy for a woman too is dangerous. Like, because men, when they get jealous, they can get deadly. You know, they're one of our top threats that takes women out is men. It's not heart disease, it's not cancer, it's men. So it's real scary to me when I have somebody who in my life who I feel like is controlling and jealous and things of that nature. But it takes you a long time too to figure that out. Don't you agree? Like,
absolutely. And we don't have the tools. We're not brought up with the tools to do it. Well, our first thing is, we're jealous, we're going to knock his ass out. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Or I'm going to beat her ass for being, you know, whatever, because we don't have the tools. We've not been taught the tools, because we're stupid. Because we have this ideal masculinity that is so ridiculous.
It's toxic. Yeah, it's toxic, and that's our culture, and that's why with the girls, I want them to identify jealousy and controlling behaviors right out of the gate. And Reagan had a relationship, and he would always do this. He would always say things like this. Well, I almost got you, let's just use this for an example. I almost got you flowers and chocolates for Valentine's Day, but because you got into a fight with me about something, I didn't. You know, and I'd be like, if you, that's a LED red flag, right? So I almost gave you this, but because you made me mad, I didn't. That is scary, you know? So, and then I tell her all the time, I'm like, don't ever, because, you know, Reagan is a pretty girl, and I'm sure that's intimidating for these young boys.
Sure.
But some of them you have, you know, she's got a professional football player that texts her, and he seems really nice. But I'm like, watch that, because he's got confidence. That scares me because he's got confidence. And then you've got these little country boys that text her, and they don't know what to do with her. And I'm like, Reagan, I wouldn't worry a thing about it. You're 19. If they text, that's great. If they don't, who cares?
That's right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, who cares? You're 19. Trust me, everything changes about 3 to 5 year increments.
Oh yeah.
And then eventually these boys will be men, and they'll know how to handle themselves when they talk to a pretty girl then.
But it's not fair. It's just not fair how much faster girls mature than boys, because a 19-year-old girl and a 19-year-old boy aren't even the same creature.
Yeah. No.
We don't have a clue at 19. We don't know shit. I barely know shit at 42. A 19-year-old has no clue.
It takes y'all a long time. Really and back to our culture with how to handle relationships, one thing that girls are told is that if you have a problem with your husband, be quiet about it. Keep it, you're fine. Everything's fine. Everybody fights. Just hush. It'll be fine. Move on. And that comes from other women in our lives.
I'm going to read this comment from Glenn. Glenn Fleming says, pretty girls never intimidated me. I've never dated an ugly woman in my life. Well, kudos to you, Glenn. You know what?
Yay, Glenn.
There was a time that pretty women intimidated me, but not so much now because I'm 42 and I don't care.
I don't really know how to, I don't know. Todd always said that too. You know, I told you when me and him first met, I thought he was gay.
That makes total sense. Well, little I met Todd.
I did. I thought, well, he's got to be gay because he wouldn't speak to me. Because, you know, he was really quiet. And I thought, well, he must be gay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just thought, you know, he wouldn't talk to me. So I'm assuming that you're interested, you know, in my buddy over here and not me.
Right.
So I don't know. You guys have a tough track when it comes to relationships. We do too, but I think you guys probably have a little more pressure on you to kick it off. Does that make sense? because we expect you guys to ask us out. We expect you guys to text first, to call first.
Right. Well, that's been drilled in your head too, right? Let him come to you. Let him do this. Let him make the move. Let him.
That's what we do.
Some guys don't operate like that. You know?
Yeah.
And I was crying because you would not stop talking. I believe that wholeheartedly, Todd.
That's totally true. Now he's pushing back a little bit.
I look good to see he's grown out of that not talking thing. All right, let's go on to our next subject. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is what's going on with it now? So
J&J, which we always knew, and you could go back and find me on this podcast. That's what's so funny. I always said I wouldn't personally take J&J, but I'm a female. I've read all the studies, and they were scary for girls. You know, they have lots of clotting issues. It sounds like, I guess guys do better with it. Girls don't, but because they're having such a high incident, they are just no longer recommending this vaccine at all if you have Pfizer and Moderna available. Like anybody's going to go, oh,
right.
Oh, you ain't got it? Well, then just give me J&J and I'll roll with the risk of blood clots. Nobody's going to do that. So that's why they don't just pull it off the market and push Novavax through.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like needs to be the move, really. I don't know Novavax like you do, obviously, but I don't see how you can say, oh, this is okay to take if the other two aren't available when they can kill you just as bad as anything else. You know, blood clotting last time I checked was a pretty serious deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So,
so that one is no longer recommended.
Yeah,
so
but Pfizer, Moderna are still rock and roll with it. And I you know what? I've not turned my TV on all week, mainly because it's been out, because suddenly it's terrible. Anyway, but it's been so relieving. I've not heard anything about COVID almost all week. It's been great. And I didn't see a mask all weekend either.
Good for you, because it's going to kick back in. Oh, hey, Chris.
Oh, great. Chris is back.
See, I was happy to see him.
You don't know him. That's why.
Glenn and Sam and Mom. Gosh, when it comes to COVID, you haven't had your TV on, then you have missed out. And, you know, Biden's going to come on Tuesday. Did you know that? I guess not. Have you heard that?
No.
So President Biden's going to come on Tuesday and tell us how we're all going to die this winter if we don't do this, that, and the other. Like, that's how he's talking now.
Oh, really?
So they've pushed him to just go forth, and you're going to say that if you are not boosted, or if you're not vaccinated, or if you're not doing what they say, to prepare for death.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope. I don't know. I don't know. We'll wait and see what he says, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't know. I can't really even comment on it.
Well, you know, and I'm not attacking him. That's just how I guess he's figured, you know, he's tried every other strategy to try to get people to vaccinate, right? So, I mean, we would have already been talking like that. If a couple of hillbillies was running this pandemic, we'd be like, do you want to die? That's how we'd have been.
Get your ass in the health department, son.
What's wrong with you? Get away from me. I mean, that's when it's, you know, we'd be talking like that. We would not be skimping. We'd be like, you're fat, you're going to die. That's how we'd be talking this whole time.
Right.
But, you know, so I guess he's finally going to talk like Trump and everybody else and just lay it on the line. And we'll see.
Straightforward talk, huh?
Yeah, we'll see how they do.
And I guess there's something going on with there's been some TikTok. What's the deal with TikTok? I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. I know there's something going on with TikTok. The school thing.
Yeah, the moms that are tuned in might know a little bit more about this than me, because Brooklyn has been in quarantine, so we haven't been in school. They quarantined her on Tuesday. Anyway, I guess a viral TikTok video went around saying don't send your kids to school on Thursday, I think, or they're going to, you know, shoot the school up. Well, it scared a lot of the parents, so they didn't send their school. It scared, like in particular, the school in Michigan that just lost 4 or 5 kids a month ago. Scared them, so they had to take it serious. They shut the school down. Several schools shut down. Even more parents didn't send their schools or send their kids to school all across the nation. And that opened up, for a very small window of time, the conversation back into how do we make schools safe. So, and then it also opened up the conversation, which you may have noticed this on your Facebook, because I've seen it on mine. People were sharing memes saying, you know, your kid doesn't need TikTok. You don't need any social media. Kids don't need social media. They don't need this. They don't need that. You know, my kids have all of that. If your kid has access to the internet, then they can find something bad. I mean, TikTok to me is the worst. mainly just because JD, when I'm on TikTok, I can lose an hour of my life just like that because I
Oh
can
yeah.
sit and watch 40 cats chase one dog, one camel eat food, and somebody clean. And I'm like, what the hell did I just do? You know, and I
Yeah.
lost an hour.
Your feed is a little different than my TikTok feed. Because that is
I
not what's watching. That's
I
not
get
what I'm
lots
watching.
of cleaning videos, and stuff like that because I'm a germphobe, I guess. So TikTok annoys me the most. But when it comes to, I don't know, saying that, I love when moms get off on these benders and they're like, I'm never going to let my kid have access to social media. And then their kid literally is
Lives
accessing
on
the
it.
internet. I mean, what do you think it is? It's all internet. They can find ways to find trouble as long as they have access to the internet in any form.
So social media is a new thing that we're learning to deal with. That's just a fact. But it's just like any other tool. A shovel can be used to kill somebody. You hear that? You hear
Uh-uh.
that? Oh, I just
Well,
had
I heard a
no.
ding. Probably Todd in
I
there.
mean, a shovel can be used to dig a hole or to murder somebody, right? It's a tool. It's all it
Right.
is. The internet is the same exact way. It can be
Mhm.
used uh,
Good or bad.
to
Why don't you not raise creepy weirdo kids and then everything will be fine? But Caitlin, look at Caitlin's post where she said moms are so judgmental. I don't know if you guys go through this, JD. You'll have to tell me as far as your dad crowds, but mom crowds are the worst. I mean,
yeah,
I
that's what I
would
keep hearing. Honestly,
yeah, oh my God. I would rather jump in a lake, a freezing cold lake, than have to hang out with a mom crowd because they will just sit there and just judge you on every little thing. Every little
I'll be
thing.
honest
And
with you. I've not had that experience with dads. I've not had that experience with dads because mostly how we watch the kids is we sit on the couch and watch TV until we hear somebody cry, and that's how we watch kids. And so, the judgment really we don't get much of it. So,
I practice,
I,
you'd be proud of me.
huh?
Every now and then you would be proud of me. You practice self-control once this week too, but I
I
practiced
did.
a ton of self-control on my Facebook because I could think of right off the top of my head 3 different posts by 3 different mothers who I love. They have great kids, they've got great families, but they made posts saying that your kid shouldn't have this, that, or the other. Just because your kid is not trustworthy does not mean that my kid doesn't have a right to have something. I've already went through this with one little mom here in Knoxville that came up to us and said that she wanted all of us to sign a contract. I don't know if I've told you this. But Caitlin, if you're listening, so she wanted us to sign a contract. Literally, she came up to us and said, I want us to all sign this piece of paper saying that you're not going to let any of your kids have technology until 13. My kids have access to more than just the internet. We hunt, we've got guns, we've got knives, they've got cars,
Sure.
stoves. I mean, I raised my kids like I was raised to where you're taught safety with these things. I can hide them from the internet and from social media their entire lives. And when they leave my house, they will find it. I would rather them learn how to navigate it while I'm sitting here.
Amen. Amen,
That's
sister. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I'm gonna tell you, I've seen this happen before. I've seen kids who were shittered their whole life and leave
mhm.
home and lose their mind and never come
Yeah,
out of it because they didn't have the tools, right? They didn't have the supervision to build these tools uh, while they had adult supervision, so they had to get out here and try to figure it out on their own. They just couldn't do it. So I absolutely agree with you.
yeah,
Letting your kids go through things, even, getting a fist fight or whatever, that's not all. They're going to be fine. They're kids. They'll bounce back from it. They're going to be okay.
we
Uh,
have
I know
to
we
have.
want to wrap them in bubble wrap, but it's not the best for them in the long run. It's absolutely not.
Yeah,
And now that my point about what I was saying about the internet is just like a shovel. It's a tool, and it can be used to dig a hole or to kill somebody. The same way with the internet. It can be used for all kinds of good or all kinds of bad.
right.
And
It's on how you raise your kid.
it depends on what you want to use it for. The individual wants to use it for. If you teach your kid, this is a great place to get information, a great place to uh, learn how to do things. You go to YouTube and learn how, and punch in how to and learn to do about anything. If you want to be a heathen and watch and fill your mind with porn 24/7, then you can do that too.
There
And
you
so
go.
that's the two different sides. Or you can, you know, get a prayer chain going on the Facebook. It's the
Right.
same, you know,
Yeah, you
it's the
good or
pen,
bad.
it's just a tool. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
I would never name names, but growing up, I had this one dear friend, and Sam and them watching would know who I'm talking about, but I would never hurt anyone's feelings. But she was locked down. I mean, clamped down. Couldn't date, couldn't come to basketball games, couldn't do any of that. Just
Right.
clamped her down. And she was a beautiful girl. Every chance she got, she was sneaking out her window and wild as a buck. You have got to give these kids some freedom. And in this particular generation that we're raising, they're the first technology generation. So you need to talk to them about not only just dating and physical interaction, how to handle yourselves on social media. I mean, and then there's something to be said too about giving these TikTok viral videos publicity.
Sure.
The more publicity you give them, the more that any random 16-year-old who
We'll
doesn't
run
want to go
through.
to school on Tuesday is going to make a threat and shut the
Right.
school down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And we get to the issue about bullying too. And this is a different world these kids live in now than you and I grew up in.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
can fight it out.
Well, we could fight it out, but not only that, we go to school and maybe somebody would say something too, and you come home and you was done with it. You was away from it. Well,
Uh-huh.
that's not the case now. Right now, you're inundated with that 24/7. They're on
Yeah.
your computer screen, they're on your news feed, they're in your IG, they're in your DMs, they're on your TikTok, and
Mhm.
it's hard to escape, and it's tough for some of these kids, I'm sure, to navigate through that.
Yeah, we have a really big problem with cyberbullying. And I know that we always look at the kids, but I think that we set the precedent when adults are attacking other adults on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. Children read this and they see this. Same with the media. You can watch some of our brightest journalists attack a certain party if they don't agree with them. And I'm talking both sides. You can turn on Fox and watch Fox attack people who believe with the
Sure.
left ideology. You can turn on CNN and you can watch them slaughter people who believe in the right ideology. We set these precedents, and then these children do it, and we're shocked.
Right.
It's I don't know how stupid we are, but I'm betting you we're batting 100 on it, because I mean, it's all in how we talk to each other. JD, you know me. I could get on Facebook and I could be as mean as a snake and not think twice about it.
Right.
Except, I got saved and baptized, and that made me, have to be nice. But I want to be nice now. I want to be cordial. I want to be able to communicate with people in a kind way versus an attack zone. Do I want to attack a lot of times? Yes.
Sure.
But I don't, because I don't want Reagan and Brooklyn to attack like that.
You know how much my news feed is filled with things I disagree with wholeheartedly. I could go 24/7 and stay on Facebook and argue always. And I do get into some discussions on Facebook. I have, and I will probably in the future. But I could literally stay and keep something on Facebook all the time if I really wanted to, and attack if I wanted to do that, because the things I disagree with. But who has the time and the energy, and who wants to be that person? Because I don't. I really don't.
And you're not changing their mind by attacking.
Right.
You have to educate if you want. Like when my liberal friends change my minds on things, I'm socially liberal. Okay. That really ticks off some of my extremely conservative friends. The majority of the conservative party is also socially liberal. It's just we have to change our platform, believe it or not. But we are. But most of my really, really extreme right friends, they get tore all to pieces when I say I'm socially liberal. That to me is me taking a position of not judging another person. It's not my life, it's their life. Doesn't mean that I believe in X, Y, or Z. You'll never know, because that's between me and God. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't have to sit here and give anybody an excuse of why I'm pro-life or why I believe, marriage is this way or marriage is that way. That's my belief, but it might be different for you. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop. I'm not going to go out here and attack a gay married couple, and I'm not going to go out here and attack a woman from not having an abortion. That's their life.
Sure.
So that's the libertarian stand. We just don't bother me and I won't bother you type of thing.
So let's get some of these comments in here. Betty Joe says, keep a child hemmed up in the house to protect them is harming them. They've got to learn the ropes. Most of all, teach your kids to be humble, but also stand up for themselves. Absolutely, Betty Joe. Don, did you ever get any fights in school? Knox wants to know.
Can we not just skip that comment? How
Plead the fifth. Betty Joe got a good chuckle out of that. And Don, speaking of bullies, Chris K is back. And
Hey, Chris.
I don't know if you all have ever been on my Facebook much, but Chris K and PJ absolutely, I can't post anything. They're on me all the time. So this guy knows about cyberbullying. PJ's mean to me. Chris is mean to me. I worked with these guys down in Louisiana. Chris is a British bloke, and I hate him. So there we go.
That's when they know you. Yeah.
Yeah. I respect JD. Don said it. Being a Democrat in Martin County is tough. Thank you, JD, for representing more than one point of view. Thank you, Knox. Appreciate that. Hit bro love. Absolutely, Chris. I wouldn't have it any other way. If you start talking nice to me, I would absolutely think somebody killed you and took over your Facebook account. There's no doubt.
I love Chris. I love Chris's humor. I've got him on Facebook and he cracks me up.
He is a witty cat. He is good.
Yeah, I like his humor a lot. But yeah,
speaking of humor, so I posted the thing on Facebook this week. Have you seen this?
Yes, you did. It blew my phone up.
And so Rudolph, what was it? It said Rudolph changed her name to Rodolphina or something.
Yeah, something like that. I'll see if I can find it real quick while you're talking about it. Oh,
absolutely. I can't post anything.
We lost him. Can you see him, or did we lose him completely? Oh no, I'm a one-woman show. All right, well, you guys talk to me, and we'll talk about JD while he is offline. So he didn't charge his computer, and now here we are. Chris said his screen looks so much better. I know, right? I mean, his head is kind of big, Chris. I would have to agree with that. Totally agree with that. He's blowing up my phone. Let's see what he wants. Okay. Well, I guess we're going to have to tune out and then go back in and grab JD. So that's what we'll do. Thanks, guys. We'll come back.
I'm still live. So we're good. Get back in. Go ahead. All right, I'm back. Chris, my screen looks so much better now. That's hilarious. Guys, apparently I'm an idiot. I thought I had my laptop plugged in while I was while I was doing this, and apparently it came unplugged on me, and the screen went blank. And so we're gonna come right back in. Don's coming back in to join us, and we're going to keep on the show rolling. We'll keep on taking the comments, taking the people, all that stuff. And she should be joining us any second. So now that I've got control of the Just That River podcast, it's time to talk some massive. No, I'm just kidding. There's Dawn. She's already back in on us. I swear, technology is my friend. Teach your kids to use technology.
It's a good thing that we ain't bad looking, is all I gotta say, because our technology skills are in the gutter. Anyway, I bet Jimmy Don is dying right now.
I bet he's coming unglued.
He sees the need that we have to have him on this show.
We definitely need you.
Anyway, what happened? Your computer died?
I thought I had it plugged in. I thought I had my laptop plugged in, charging while it was running, and it wasn't. The little thing was pulled out from the side, and it just.
Well, that's okay. Anyway, so
that was actually not that bad though. We got right back on here pretty quick. It was not bad. So yeah, humor. I posted the meme on the Facebook group. The Rudolph changed his name to Rodolphina or whatever, and now he's dominating the girls' reindeer games. And holy shit, if I didn't piss a bunch of people off.
Yeah, you
I thought it
got.
was just funny, didn't you?
Well, I did. I mean, naturally I can see both sides, but that particular post was truly satire. I mean, we're talking about
Sure.
Rudolph. We're
Right.
talking about Rudolph.
Right.
So to me, I didn't really see the passion of why we should be so mad about it. But here it is. Here's what JD. So this is the little thing. Can you see it?
Yeah. It says Rudolph.
Yeah,
Let's read it for us, Don.
Rudolph changed name to Rolanda and dominates the female reindeer games. And then we had some comments on it, and then I think we may have had some messages about it. Of course, we're not trying to offend anybody. If you'll notice our Facebook, we keep it in the middle. I share a lot of things on there from both sides, and JD will be the one that shares all the stuff that ticks everybody off.
Well, I just thought I was just trying to be funny. I thought it was just a funny post. I seen that. I was like, oh, I think people get a kick out of this. So I
Yeah,
put it on there, and immediately the right wing guy got mad, and then the right behind. I mean, it wasn't 2 minutes later. Somebody came in there and said, a liberal coming there mad. I was like, guys, what are we doing
yeah,
here?
you made everybody mad with that. So then,
So
we talked about it a little bit. I get the transgender thing, but like we discussed before, it is perfectly okay for a woman to identify being a woman and be proud of being a woman, and you don't get my place. But this particular post that you made was literally Rudolph. So I'm really not
yes,
threatened by Rudolph, who is fictional, taking my place. It was a joke. I
it is a
mean,
joke. And we talked about this a few weeks ago. And if anybody that's listening right now has ever said, I will never laugh at a joke about blank, then we probably shouldn't hang out, because I think pedophilia jokes are funny. I think all the jokes are funny. Who was not laughed at a funny Michael Jackson pedophilia joke? Do I think pedophilia is a funny thing? No. Do I think there's a good pedophilia jokes out there? Absolutely.
yeah, especially as a comedian, you guys can get completely, crude. And if,
Yeah.
people don't like that, they don't need to go to those particular style of shows. But I don't know. To me, this was a Rudolph pick, and you got it from both sides. And I thought
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed you getting it from both sides.
And I was texting you, I was like, I'm gonna lie to both these motherfuckers.
So I was like, Lord have mercy. Here we go.
I was offended by the post that you made. This is the one you made. It offended me, honestly. 4 stages of a man's life. 1, you believe in Santa. 2, you don't believe in Santa. 3, you are Santa. And 4, you
Yeah.
look like Santa. That might have hit a little bit close to home for me. So
Yeah, that one was funny too.
definitely feeling offended with that post.
So what about the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl? Utah State and Oregon State, right?
Yeah.
Can't remember who won. Todd told me, but I'm sure it went in one ear and out the other. Anyway, so
Utah
Jimmy
State.
Kimmel has a football bowl game named after him. And his mascot is called Jimmy Camel. I think I have that right. Jimmy Camel barfs. He goes around, he barfs a fluorescent green, emesis, I guess, and spews it onto fans or over in the stadium and stuff. Is it funny? Yes, I get it. Jimmy Kimmel's a comedian. He's trying to be funny, but is it appropriate considering that these are student athletes that, well, you're a football player, you're a football coach. It's not an easy sport, and you spend your whole season, and let's say you make it to, state playoffs, and then your playoff host is a joke.
Yeah. So here's the tough balance that you got to find, right? Everybody, we all have to find, because like I just got through saying, there's a funny thing about everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But could you imagine, what about the parents of the starting quarterback who's a senior, and he's busted his ass to be where he's at, and now they're making this big joke about his game. So
Right.
where do you fall down? I don't know. I'm struggling, because on one hand, let's not be offended by everything. It's just a camel that pukes. Not a big deal. But on the other hand,
Yeah, you get both
I
sides.
don't want that dedication just to be laughed about. So go ahead.
Now, if I'm going to a comedy show, if I'm going to go watch Jimmy Kimmel live and he has a camel walking around, it's puking lime water on people, fine. If I'm the mother of a football player, like you said, and we're excited, we bought the bowl t-shirts and the bowl hats, and we're telling the family to go up, we've got tickets to go up. No, I want it to be a nice event. I want it to be taken serious. My son worked hard to get there. The teams worked hard to get there. The schools, are supporting this bowl. I think he kind of made a mockery of it, which is what he meant to do.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it, man. I get it. People being mad about it. I really do. Like you said, it'd be like Jimmy Don going to Cincinnati this weekend to watch this big, nice dance competition. And,
and bringing
a what?
Bringing a gag, to the
yeah, right.
competition. When Ashton wins, instead of giving her flowers, he gives her some type of, barfing stuffed animal or something that ruins her
fart egg or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. Jimmy Kimmel's an idiot, though, and so we can put him in the same box as Ben Affleck, if you ask me. As a matter of fact, wasn't it Jimmy Kimmel's show that Ben went on his apology tour?
Yes, I think it was, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So they're there. You go. Two birds of a feather flock together, right?
Yeah. I mean, but that whole, the Hollywood, those guys run together. They're going to have each other's back, and I understand that. I get that,
I guess. I don't know. I feel bad for the students, but if the game's already over with and done, so whatever. Well, what do you think of Mansion?
Hold on one second. Let's because Todd's, there's a time and place for the humor, right? And
That's right.
In surgeries, or it takes a proud parent moment away. It makes it a mockery. When I'm putting people to sleep for surgery, I don't want a vomiting camel jumping around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And your point's well taken, Todd. I get it, man. I agree. You can't make everyone happy, but it's fun to piss everyone off. Yeah. I mean, I get that too. I've seen comics go into sets with the full intention of pissing the crowd off.
Yeah.
Because they think that shit's hilarious.
Yeah, I think Henry's right. And I think that's what Jimmy wanted. Jimmy's a comedian. And what did it do? It got his name trending. We're talking about Jimmy Kimmel. I have not mentioned Jimmy Kimmel's name probably in my entire life.
Right.
But when I looked up this story, now I know something about him. So
no publicity's bad publicity, right?
Yeah, it's just they want this stuff, but at what cost? But I guess nobody got hurt, but I don't know. I hope it doesn't escalate. I hope next year the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl isn't, vulgar and crude things. I mean, who knows how this thing will go? But
right. So what was you about to bring up? You bring up something else.
Manchin, Senator Manchin. That's about ready to hit. I think it just broke. Was it today or yesterday that he's not going to vote for the Build Back Better program, the $2 trillion program? That their bill that they're wanting to get through that covers education, has some education and some healthcare and some climate change in there with a lot of pork everywhere else. And Manchin, I guess, announced that he wrangled with it as much as he could, but he just doesn't think it's right for West Virginia. And he answers to West Virginia, and he's not going to vote for it. So,
yeah, I don't know enough about it. I wish I could.
I don't either.
Here's what I will say. For what I know of, I'm for Build Back Better, but I also feel like Joe Manchin needs to do what he thinks is best for his constituents, and then if that's to stand up and against his own party, then that's what he ought to do.
That's
I don't have a problem with that, but I think he's going to be. I think Joe Manchin's going to have a very short career in the Senate because he's going to get primary in West Virginia. He's going to, and the Republicans don't need him. So.
Yeah, that's right. We don't need of course we want an actual Republican in his seat. He squeaked by this last time, and he knows that. So, and he's concerned, like what Todd's bringing up. We can talk that the economy is adding jobs and doing all these good things, but when it boils down to it, if Americans if they have less money in their pocket than what they did a year ago, then they see it as bad, as anybody would. So, and that's what Manchin is basing his vote or his decision off of, I suppose.
Yeah, I get the inflation thing, but there's a lot. Again, these companies, there's like a record. Like I can't remember what the percentage of these companies were making record sales. It's not like these guys are just so. You're trying to lay the blame. I don't know who you blame. Who do you blame? What do you do? You know what I'm saying? Do you put a cap on how much money the company can make? Because that's not the way capitalist society works.
Right. Well,
So it's just stuff.
we all know who's going to get the blame, as he
Sure. Oh
should.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Biden's going to get
As
the
you should.
blame,
I don't know
just
about
like
that.
Trump got the blame. Everybody gets the blame. The captain of the ship goes down with the ship, right?
Too much blame and too much credit.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll line out though. It's some wild times for sure for people to try to make ends meet, but hopefully it'll get better really soon. What are you doing for Christmas?
Oh man, I don't know. Mom's got Christmas here, Christmas Day. I tried to talk the kids into taking a trip and going out of town and doing something, but they didn't seem real stoked about that. They wanted their presents. What I was going to do is not my presents this year and go on like a big trip.
Right.
Yeah, but
because they're all older.
I don't know about that now. So
don't know
so they got gifts.
Give up my presents.
Yeah. They wouldn't. They wouldn't down with giving up presents, but I thought it would have been fun. I'd like to went like northeast somewhere up in New England and done something, or even go to the beach during the cold month. And you're froze up on me. I got Knox's comment up here. Musk sold his stock and paid a boatload in Texas. He and Elizabeth Warren had a funny exchange on Twitter. Yeah, Elon. I can't hear you. Your internet. You're phrased up. Elon is being more. First off, he has the worst haircut in America. Did you? I don't know if you. Baby girl, I can't. You're not doing anything. Hey Todd, am I froze up or she froze up? I think she froze up because my ticker's ticking. But anyway, we were just end the show there. I know this sucks, but appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate the comments. Chris, share this, man. Help us out. Help us grow. Knox, everybody that's watching, share this. Help us out. It helps us more than you know. And we'll be back next week. We'll have our Christmas episode next week, and I'll probably end up getting really drunk. I don't know. Appreciate you, Eric. Appreciate you, Henry. Appreciate you, Chris. Appreciate you, Knox. Guys, this is Just Add Bourbon Podcast. As we always like to end the show, no matter how bad your week has been, no matter how bad your day is going, if you just add bourbon, it always just gets a little bit better. See you guys next week.